Yeah, hello everyone. Is my voice audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from today we are starting with React JS. Okay. So before I start my session, let me explain the agenda of today's session. Let's understand the agenda of today's session. So in today's session, first we will try to understand the prerequisite. What are the prerequisite for joining the React course? Okay. Prerequisite for React JS. So basically, what kind of knowledge you should have if you want to learn React JS. So React JS is not for completely fresher people. Like if you don't know anything in HTML, CSS or JavaScript, if you are just new to a programming, then React JS is not for you. So there is certain prerequisite for React JS. So we have to understand what is that prerequisite. Then we will discuss what is React. We will discuss purpose of React, like why we are using React, what we can do with React, all those things. And then we will discuss why React. Why React? Do we have any alternates apart from React? If yes, then why we are going towards React? Once we have done with all this, then we will discuss little bit general things. Like I will be sharing the course content with you guys. What will be the timing of the sessions, how many days we will take, all those general things we will discuss. Then I will take your doubts. If you have any kind of doubts, as it is a new first session, so there are certain people who are completely new to our sessions, and there are some people who are coming from the JavaScript batch. So if someone has any kind of doubts, we will discuss those doubts as well. So this will be the agenda of today's session. So before we start with React, at least you should know what is React and what you can do with React. If you know these two things, then it makes some sense to learn React JS. If you don't know what is React, what you can do with React, then there is no sense to learn React JS. At least we should know what we can do with React. So once we know React JS, what is our capability? So this is the agenda of today's session. Okay. So first I will start with the prerequisite because this is the first session. So prerequisite should be clear for each and everyone. Okay. It should not be like you don't know basics and you joined React and suddenly after some days you felt that React is not for you right now. Simply you will waste your time and your money. That's why we don't want to fall in that. So what we will do, first we will discuss the prerequisite. So what is the prerequisite to learn React? What is the prerequisite to learn React? Let's try to understand. So if you want to learn React or if you want to start with React, the first thing what you should know is you should know HTML. You should have complete knowledge on HTML. So you should know what are elements, what are tags, what are attributes. What are elements, what are tags, what are attributes. All these concepts should be clear for you. Now there are different elements, right? We have heading elements, we have paragraph elements, we have form element, we have list element, we have image element. Like this, you should know all the elements in HTML. You should know how to write tags. What are tags? How many types of tags we have? Like self-closing tag, paid tags. So that syntax you should know. Apart from that, you should know attributes. What are attributes? Why do we use attributes? How do we use attributes? All that knowledge you should have. This comes in your HTML. Okay. Anyone, any doubts up to here in the prerequisite of HTML? Swapnil, I won't be able to use Hindi. The reason, there are mixed people, right? There are the people who are from South, so they don't know Hindi. Yeah, if you don't understand something, then let me know. I will try to explain in Hindi some part of the concept. First, I will explain that concept in English. Then still some people, if they don't understand, then I can explain in Hindi. So right now I know Hindi, Marathi, and Telugu. So out of these three languages, if someone doesn't understand something, then let me know. I will try to explain in these three languages. Okay. So when it comes to HTML, you should know elements, tags, and attributes. When it comes to CSS, okay, CSS is very, 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 very important, guys. So a lot of people take CSS very lightly, but don't ever take CSS very, very, very lightly. Okay, don't ignore your CSS. If you want to be a React developer or front-end developer or Angular developer in future, then CSS is mandatory. You should know CSS very well. So when it comes to CSS, you should know general properties of CSS. You should know selectors, like how we can select our element using ID, how we can select our element using class name, how can we select our elements using tag name. So you should have knowledge on selectors. You should have knowledge on general properties. Better to have knowledge on flex. Okay, it is optional, but if you have knowledge on flex, that is very good. Better to have knowledge on grid. This is also optional. So if you have the knowledge on flex and grid, it will be easy for us to do some kind of task. So in React, whenever we do some task, we need to create some styles. At that time, we will be using this flex and grid. So right now, if you don't know, it's okay. But make sure within 1 week, you are updating yourself with flex and grid concept. Flex and grid concept. So flex and grid is very, 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 very important for our course because frequently I will be using these concepts, flex and grid. That's why you should know flex and grid. So you should know general properties in CSS. You should know selectors concept. You should know flex concept. You should know grid concept. Remaining things, if I am using in CSS, I will just explain those part and I will use it. Okay. So remaining things I don't require. In case if I am using any one of the CSS property, and in case if you guys don't know that property, then I will just explain that property little bit and then I will use it so that it will not be difficult for us to learn those CSS properties. So in HTML, these are the things you should know. In CSS, these are the things you should know. Yeah, I will give you the chance. I will give you the chance, then you can ask, okay? Then when it comes to JavaScript, okay, next, everyone should know JavaScript, guys. So basically, you should know basic and advanced both the JavaScript. It's mandatory to have the knowledge on complete JavaScript. But still, if you guys are still learning the JavaScript, then at least basics of JavaScript you should know. Basics of JavaScript. Basics of JavaScript means you should know variables concept. What are variables? You should know data types. You should know functions. You should know operators. You should know selection statements. Selection statements means your if, else, switch. You should know the statements. Apart from this, you should know object concept, array concept, and DOM manipulation. And events concept in your JavaScript. So these are the basics at least you should know in the JavaScript. These are the basics of JavaScript, guys. So you should know at least these concepts. It's mandatory to know this many concepts. And one more concepts, yeah, object array. This many concepts are mandatory that you should know before you start with React. Okay, once you know these concepts, once you join React or you start learning React, then make sure parallelly you are learning advanced JavaScript also. So parallelly you have to learn advanced JavaScript in next 15 days. In next 15 days, you have to make yourself good with advanced JavaScript also. In advanced JavaScript, a lot of concepts comes into picture, like your ES6 concepts, promises concepts, object-oriented programming concept, difference between let, var, and const concept. So basically, you should know module scope concept. Okay, these are the advanced concepts in JavaScript. So you should know advanced concepts of JavaScript as well. Advanced concepts of JavaScript. So right now, if you don't know advanced concepts, you can start learning React, because first 10-15 days, we will learn basics of React. So in the basics of React, you don't require advanced concepts of JavaScript. But once we're done with the basics of React, we require the advanced concepts of JavaScript. So what you guys can do, meanwhile we are learning basics of React, at that time you can explore your advanced concepts of JavaScript. In case if you don't know, if you know advanced concepts and basics of JavaScript, that is well and good. That is well and good. So these are the prerequisite to start with React. Make sure you guys have at least knowledge on all this. Okay, at least you should have the knowledge on all this. So if you know this, then only it is a right time for you guys to start with React. If you don't know all this, then I personally recommend don't learn React right now. Learn all the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then you start learning your React.js. Or else, if you start learning React, then in future, there are a lot of chances that you might face some kind of issues or confusion, and you might not understand React at all. So unnecessarily, you will lose your time, nothing but you will waste your time, and you will lose your money. Okay? Yeah. So this was the prerequisite. So right now, if you have any doubts up in this prerequisite, then just feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask your doubts. Or you can use chat to post your questions. Any doubts in prerequisite? Anyone?
Sir, in the advanced JS, if you are familiar out of 6 concepts, if you are familiar with 4 concepts, can we still go ahead in advanced JS? For example, module scope, clauses, if you do not know, then still
But
we can go ahead.
you can start right now, but make sure within next 15 days you are updating yourself with the all the concepts that you don't know.
Okay,
So
okay.
you have
And
15
one,
days, well, 15 days of time, right? So you
yes,
can
yes.
update yourself in that.
Okay. One more doubt, sir. In the CSS, flex means J, for example, jQuery grid. I mean, grid in jQuery grid, similar to that, sir.
Uh,
jQuery, we have grid by
exactly. But in CS,
representations.
yes, in CSS we have plain flex and grid concept, right?
Yeah.
So that plain flex and grid concept you should know. Core concept of flex and grid, how we use in CSS, that you should know.
Dynamic table, similar to that only, no, sir?
No, no. Flex and grid are something different, which are used to create layouts. So
Yes, yes, layouts for representation of, we represent data in that cells, right?
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, sir, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Any other doubts? No, I will not be explaining all these topics, guys. If I explain all these topics, now we have to spend nearly 4 to 5 months. Already we spent 3 months. Okay, I will explain duration. I will explain. Okay, don't worry. So these are the prerequisite. So anyone have any doubts in prerequisite or any confusion, you can clear those doubts.
Sir, are you going to explain advanced JS concepts or you're not going to explain that also?
No, advanced JavaScript I won't explain, okay? So I won't explain anything in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We will purely learn React, and finally we will develop a project on React. So this itself will take 2.5 months. So we don't have that much time to cover all this, okay? So that's why all this comes under your prerequisite. Prerequisite means already you should have knowledge on all these concepts before we start with React.
Okay, even advanced JS also comes under prerequisites.
And yes, advanced JavaScript also comes under prerequisite. So the point here why I have mentioned separately is right now we don't require this. Right now, if you know this many concepts in JavaScript, you can start with React. But in next 15 days, you have to make sure you are updating with all this concept. So you have to learn all this concept in next 15 days. So that meanwhile, we will be covering basics of React. So once we're done with the basics of React, then all these concepts will come into picture. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So these are the prerequisite for our React.js, guys. Okay, make sure you know all these things. I will share this paint file with you. After this session, again, you can go through all these topics and you can judge yourself how much you know and how much you need to do. Okay. Now, let me explain you what is React, because we are learning React, right? So let's discuss a little bit about React. Then we will discuss some general things about our course. Then we will wrap our today's session. So everybody joined here React, right? So I just wanted to know about React. Yeah. So first, let's try to understand what is React. Whether it is a React or React.js, both are one and same. What is React or React.js? So anyone have any kind of idea what is React or React.js?
It's a library,
Nice. It's a
one of the JS library.
one of the JS library. Okay. Any other answer, guys? Feel free to give the answers. Even if it is wrong, it's okay. Just feel free to give your answers.
We can use React to develop single page applications.
Okay. We use React for developing single page applications. But my question is, what is React? So you are telling me the purpose of like what we can do with React. But my question was, what is React? So I got one answer. Anyone have any other answers? Like whatever you know, feel free to express. Even if it is wrong, it's okay. Anybody else, guys? Yeah.
It is a framework like Angular.
It is a framework like Angular. Okay, nice. Okay. Okay, now let me explain you exactly what is React. Already I got the right answer, what I wanted to explain. So basically, React.js is a JavaScript library. What is React.js? React.js is a JavaScript. It is a JavaScript library. It's a library. Okay, don't say React.js is a framework. React.js is not a framework. Guys, be on mute. Okay, React.js. Abhishek Tiwari, be mute. Okay, so React.js is not a framework. Again, if you do the same mistake, Abhishek, I have to remove you, okay? So be careful, guys. So React.js is not a framework. So a lot of people give this answer, I have seen, but this is not the right answer, guys. So if someone says that React.js is a framework, it's absolutely wrong. It means you don't have the knowledge on React.js. So don't ever give this answer. Right now, you guys are students. You might have read about React somewhere in some article. Maybe you might have heard about React.js as a framework from someone. It's okay. But that is what you came here. You came here to learn the things. But this definition we should not give in our interviews. If you give this definition in your interviews, they will simply reject you. So what is React.js? React.js is a JavaScript library. It is a library. Now, what is library? What is framework? What is the difference between them? We will discuss that. But right now, React.js is a JavaScript library. Now, the next question is, what is this library? So, anybody knows what is library? Anybody have any kind of idea what is library? I think I have muted everyone. So let me allow you guys to unmute yourself now. Yeah, what is library? Like if you have any kind of knowledge on what is library, you can speak.
Consists of predefined classes or methods, functions, some
Nice.
logics.
Nice. Anything else, guys? Any other way of expressing what is library, if you know? So I told React is a library. It is a JavaScript library. But if you understand what is library, then you will be very clear with what is exactly React.js. So anybody knows library? What is library? Okay. So let me explain you what is library. Basically, library is a collection of predefined functions, classes, or objects. What is library? Library is a collection of predefined functions, classes, or objects. So if you take any library in the world, in the libraries, basically you will find predefined functions or classes, or you might find both, and objects. In Java, we have something like packages. You might have heard about the concept packages. So what packages contains? It contains collection of classes, collection of predefined classes. So in Java, basically package, we use the term package. In JavaScript, we use the term library. So library and package, both are one and same. So basically what is library means? It is just a collection of predefined functions, classes, or objects. Already those functions, classes, and objects are created by React people. They are just giving to us that. So indirectly, I can say that React.js is a collection of predefined functions, classes, or objects. So indirect definition I can give related to React is a collection of predefined functions, classes, and objects. This is what the alternate definition we can add to our React.js. So generally, technically, officially, the definition given by React people is React.js is a JavaScript library. This is the official definition. This definition you should not use. React.js is a framework. Okay, so you should not say that React.js is a framework. This is wrong. React.js is not a framework. It is a library. There is a difference between framework and library. We will discuss that part. First, let's try to understand what is library. So what is library? Library is a collection of predefined functions or classes or objects. So if library is a collection of predefined functions, classes, or object, then we can say that React is also a collection of predefined functions, classes, and object. And whatever functions and classes and objects are predefined, all those are developed using JavaScript language. All these predefined functions, classes, and objects are created using JavaScript language. That is the reason we say that React is a JavaScript library. So that library is created using a language called JavaScript. using a language called JavaScript. Now, what is the use of these functions, classes, and objects? Basically, what we can do with this functions, classes, and objects. Now, we are saying that React is a collection of functions, classes, and objects. So what we can do with this? Basically, we have to understand what is the purpose of React.js. What is the purpose of React.js? So anybody knows what is the purpose of React.js? So before I explain, I just wanted to know if you have the idea. What is the purpose of React.js? Basically, what we can do with the React.js?
We can create user interfaces.
We can create user interfaces. Nice. Anything else?
We can work on validations. We can call back in API to get
Okay.
the data.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Any other answers? Yeah. So let me explain you exact purpose of React.js, why React was created, and what is the purpose of React.js. React.js is used to create user interface. React is all about creating user interface. Apart from that, nothing. So React.js is used to create user interface. User interface. Apart from that, we cannot do anything else with React. We cannot do anything else with React. Anything else means, can we create one front-end application with React? Can we create a front-end application with React? What will be your answer, guys? Can we create a front-end application with React?
Yes, yes.
Answer is no. You cannot create. With React, you cannot create front-end application. To create front-end application, you require so many things. Creating user interface is one of the part of front-end application, and React will focus only on user interface. How to create user interface. But if you want to create front-end application, you have to do so many other things also. Like you should know how to send a request to your server. You should be able to do the data management. Okay, you should be able to do the validation kind of things. So validation, sending the request to a server, doing the data management of your applications, all these things we cannot do with React. React is all about creating user interface only. We can create static user interface, we can create dynamic user interface. If you want to create a front-end application with React, then with React, you have to take the help of some other libraries also. Some other libraries also. So React plus some other libraries, if you add, then you will be able to create the front-end application. Only if I use React, then I cannot create front-end application. It's not at all possible because React is all about creating user interfaces. It is all about creating user interfaces. Now, this definition is not given by me. This definition is given by the people who created React. People who created React. If you want to check it, simply go to their official documentation. If you go to their official documentation, simply they told, what is React? React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. They simply told that React is all about creating user interfaces. Apart from that, you cannot do anything else with React. If you want to do something else, then you have to take the help of some other library. For example, there are some libraries like, I will just mention some names of the libraries. We have a library called React DOM. We have a library called Redux. We have a library called Axios. We have a library called React Router. These are the some of the libraries which we will use with React. Which we will use with React to create front-end application. To create front-end application. So if someone asks you, can we create a front-end application only with React? Answer is no, we cannot create. To create a front-end application with React, we have to take the help of some other libraries. And what are those some other libraries? All these are your other libraries. So we are going to learn all these libraries with React. And we will see how we can integrate all these libraries with React. And finally, we will create one front-end application. So you should be very clear what is React, what is the purpose of React. If you want, you can go through this documentation. They never mentioned anywhere that using React, you can create a front-end application or you can create something called single page application. Like this, you will not find anything in their documentation. Their documentation is very clear. React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Clearly, they have mentioned it. This is the official definition given by React people. Okay, so there are two documentations of React. So this is the old documentation which I am showing you right now. This is the old documentation. This is the website created by React people. So in this website, they will mention everything about the React. So that is what so this website we call as a official documentation. So this is the old documentation. So the URL will be legacy.reactjs.org. This is the old documentation. And clearly they have given one message here. This site is no longer updated. So now they are saying that we are not going to update this site. Right now, whatever information you will find, that is permanent. Now we are not going to change this particular site. And they have created one more documentation, something called react.dev. If you just click on this, it will navigate to that documentation. This is a new documentation of React. So you can give a look on this, both the documentation. This is the old documentation. This is the new documentation. And what is the latest version of React? That is version 18. Version 18 is the latest version of React. It is the latest version of React. If you want to change your versions, if you want to check your versions, you can click on this. Here it will give you all the details of the versions. So always, guys, whether you are learning any technology, always believe the official documentation. Always you have to believe the official documentation. Whatever information you will find in the official documentation, that is the correct information. If you are finding some information in some XYZ websites, you should not believe all those. You have to believe the information of official documentation. It might be related to any technology, whether it is a Java or Angular or React or Python, whatever technologies or languages you are learning, make sure you are going through the documentation. And you have to keep the habit of reading documentation. So that is a sign of a software developer. That is a sign of a software engineer. If something doesn't understand in the official documentation, then we have to go to some other websites just for reference purpose. And in that too, you have to select some standard websites. There are some standard websites where you will find almost 99% right information. So you have to follow those standard websites, or else there are so many websites on the internet. So we will just get confused. That is the reason we should have some 3 to 4 standard websites and official documentation. So if you just follow this one, it's more than enough for us to learn any concept of any technology. Okay, so I will be going through this documentation through our course so that you guys will get habituated, like how the documentation is, how we have to read it, how we have to understand it. That idea you will get. And it will help you a lot once you get the job. So once you get the job, suppose you are using some new concept in your project. Now you have to learn that concept, right? So for that, you have to go to the official documentation. You have to check that documentation. You have to understand about that concept, and you have to learn and you have to use. So how to do all these things, we will be learning in our course. Okay, so this is the official documentation. So be clear with what is React, what is the purpose of React. So the purpose of React is all about creating user interface. So with React, what we will do? With React, we will learn how to create user interface. Then what we will do, once we know how to create user interface, then to this React, we will add some other libraries. Nothing but we will integrate our React with some other libraries. And once you are able to add your React and some other libraries, then finally we will be able to build a front-end application. And once you are able to build a front-end application, then you can call yourself as a front-end engineers. You guys are front-end engineers. So our ultimate goal is to learn React, is to develop front-end application. This is our ultimate goal, guys. So we are not going to stop at user interfaces. We are going to learn some other libraries to develop front-end application. So you should be very clear what is React, what we can do with the React, and what is the final outcome of this course. Okay, I just tried to make you understand what is React, purpose of React, and final outcome of our course. The final outcome of our course should be, we should be able to develop a front-end application. Okay, so once you're done with your React, you should be able to apply the jobs. Directly, you should be able to apply for the jobs for the role of front-end engineers or React engineers. So that should be our ultimate and final goal. And the people who are coming from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, guys, you also make sure taking React very, very seriously. Or the people who are from the UI full stack batch, they also have to take React very, very seriously. Because once you know React, so we are done with the half of our course. So now you can start applying for jobs. At least you can apply for front-end roles as a front-end engineer. So if you get a job as a front-end engineer, join it. And meanwhile, parallelly learn your back-end part also. So once you're done with your backend, once you're done with front end, once you are very confident, then you can search for some full stack engineer roles or full stack developer roles or MERN stack developer roles. Okay. So this is very, 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 very important. And there is a lot of demand in the market, guys. There is so much demand for the React. Compared to Angular, we have a lot of demand for the React. Why? Because Angular is releasing new versions in every 6 months. Every 6 months, they are releasing new versions. So people got fed up by updating themselves. Today, let's assume that you are learning Angular 17. The moment you finish your Angular 17, Angular 18 will release. So that much fastly they are releasing the Angular versions. That is the one of the reason why Angular became very depopular. So React overcome that Angular part. Initially, we thought that Angular will overcome React, but no. React has good demand in the market right now. Because I will be taking Angular batch also. So today I am starting Angular in the evening. So at that place, I will say the same thing. React has more demand compared to Angular because that is the fact. So I won't say that Angular is more demand than the React in Angular batch. Okay. So in Angular batch also, I say the same. React has more demand compared to Angular. But it doesn't mean that no one uses Angular. So many people uses Angular. But if you compare both, then React has slightly more demand compared to Angular. Right now, this is how the situation is. Okay. So anyone have any doubts up to here in this? What is React? What is the purpose of React? And what is the final outcome of the React? Any doubts in this? Okay. So now next point, what we have to understand is why we are using React. Why React.js? To develop user interface. So basically we guys are coming from HTML, CSS and JavaScript background, right? In HTML also we have learnt the same thing. Using HTML also we can develop user interface. Even in JavaScript, we can develop user interface. Now, if you are able to develop user interface with HTML, if you are able to develop user interface with JavaScript, then why React? Then why React? Why React required for doing the same thing? Already we have HTML, already we have JavaScript. With those both we can develop user interface. Then why do we require React? This is what we have to understand. Okay, to understand this, why we required React, we will take one example using HTML. How to develop user interface with HTML. I will take one example on this. Then we will discuss what are the benefits and what are the problems with HTML to develop user interface. Then we will discuss how to create one user interface with JavaScript. I will just take one basic example. Practically, I will show that. Then we will discuss what are the problems and what are the benefits of creating user interface with JavaScript. Now, there are some problems with HTML. There are some problems with JavaScript. That is why React came into picture. But we need to understand what are those problems. Now, if you understand what are those problems, you will be very clear why we are using React. And this is very, very famous interview question. They will ask why you have learned React to create user interfaces, or why React is required to create user interfaces if you can create your user interfaces with HTML and JavaScript. So many times people have asked this question in the interviews for the freshers. Even for experienced people, they ask this question. Why they ask this question? Just to make sure whether this person knows properly React.js or not. Why he is using React, whether he knows that core concept or not. Just to make that and just to know that part, they will ask this question. Okay, so in tomorrow's session, I will discuss this part because I required completely one complete session to discuss this part now. So in tomorrow's session, first we will discuss how to create user interface with HTML. We will take one small example and we will see that. And we will discuss what are the problems and what are the benefits. Same thing with JavaScript also we will do. How to create user interface with JavaScript, what are the problems and what are the benefits. Then how that problems have overcome by React and how those benefits are covered in React. That part also we will discuss. So once you know all these things, then you will be clear why we are using React. Why we are using React. Okay, so this part we will discuss in tomorrow's session. And let me explain you little bit general things about our course. So the duration of our course will be around 2.5 months, guys. Here first we will learn React.js. Once we learn the React.js and based on our React, we will develop one project. So it's like a React plus project. So here you will learn React.js, then you will develop the project. Okay, so maximum we will develop here e-commerce project. So if you develop a project using React, at least you will understand how we use React concepts in real time. How React concepts are used to develop a project. That idea you will get. So first we will learn React, all the concepts, then we will develop the project. Duration of the entire course will be 2.5 months. The course, like fees of your course is around 8K. It's like 8K. Our sessions will be from Monday to Friday. Okay. And that too from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. If I'm not available any day in between Monday to Friday, then I will try to take the sessions on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So I will provide all these paint files, whatever paint files I will create, all those paint files plus code. And at the end of our batch, I will provide you all the interview questions and some professional PDF of React. So all this will be available to you. And recordings will be available to you for 1 year access. Till 1 year, you can access your recordings. So after every session, they will take some time. So once they upload that recording on the portal, you will be able to access those recordings for 1 year. So recordings are available, guys. Okay, these are the general information about our course. Apart from this, if you have any doubts or if you want to ask anything, yeah, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, suppose like I used to create REST API using Spring Boot.
Okay.
So will you cover in the course that how to connect that backend to Spring Boot REST API to front end React.js?
Yes, I will teach with Node.js. If you know how to connect your React with Node.js, same concept you can apply for Spring Boot also.
No, sir, I don't know Node.js.
No need to have a knowledge on Node.js. I will just show you the API. This is the API created by Node.js. How to integrate this API with React. You give me the API of Spring Boot. I will show how to integrate your React with Spring Boot. Okay.
No, the configuration process in the Spring Boot will be different than Node.js.
No. API. We are using APIs, guys. So if you are using APIs, no need of doing any kind of configurations. So here we are not developing Spring Boot application. Spring Boot people will give us the API directly. We will use that API. Okay. So API integration is we are going to learn in our course. That is the most important part of our course.
No, I mean to say that that React we can do directly integration of that API. But is there any changes required to do in Spring Boot also inside pom.xml or any other configuration file?
That is Spring Boot people. That is Spring Boot job, right? That is not React job.
Okay, so that part it will not be covered if any changes required.
No.
Okay,
Spring Boot part we will not cover. Only React part.
Okay. That for that I have to research by my side, right?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So guys, this is the syllabus of your course. Just go through this syllabus so that you guys will get the idea exactly what we are covering in our batch course. So here I did not mention the details of project. So that we will discuss once we're done with the React.js. Finally, here we are going to develop one project using all the concepts that we have learned. And here, one point you have to remember in this syllabus, if you see, okay, let me just scroll down. Yeah. Here you will find one label called R. Okay. So in front of the topic, there are some topics. In front of that, you will find a label called R. So this R indicates this particular topic will be provided in the recorded form. So I have recorded a video for this topic. That video I will share. So this topic I won't cover in the live session. This topic I will share a video. That video is recorded by me only. So that video I will share with you guys. For example, use effect. Now this concept consists of 4 hours content. So that 4 hours content I have recorded and I will share that whenever time comes. So that you guys can go through that videos and you can learn this particular topic. So like this, there are some topics in front of which I have used that label called R. And wherever you won't find that label R, for example, here, you won't find it. So this topic will be covered in your live sessions, because it is impossible for me to cover this entire syllabus within 1.5 months. Because 1.5 months we will learn React, next 1 month we will create one project. So it's not possible for me to cover all these things within 1.5 months. So we don't want to compromise with the content and we want to cover all the content. So for that, 80% of your syllabus will be covered in the live session, 20% of your syllabus will be in the recorded form. Okay, so clearly I am mentioning in the first session itself, so that it should be clear between us.
Sir, Redux is mobile related, right?
No, Redux is related to your state management, data management.
Okay.
Okay, so we can use with React or you can use with React Native also. You can use with any JavaScript technology, Redux. You can use with Angular as well.
Mount and lazy loading comp are important, right, sir?
Which one?
Mount and lazy loading comp.
Yes, that's why I'm covering, right? Lazy loading. It's just 2 steps things. Just 2 steps.
Yeah, but recorded video, right?
Yes.
But these are important concepts, right?
So all are important. There is no concept which is not important here. A to Z, everything is important.
If we are not able to understand by watching video,
You can ask doubts, obviously, right? I will be available. So you will have a WhatsApp group. Everything will be available. So if you get any kind of doubts, you can ask anytime.
Any HTML5, CSS3 also we need to update, or we will be using, or you will be covering as part of the...
No HTML, CSS and JavaScript. As I have mentioned, this prerequisite I won't cover. Okay, all these things you should know. If you know these things, then only join React, guys. If you don't know these things, just you will be wasting your time and your money. First you learn these things, then only you join any React batch at anywhere. Without these things, if you join React, you will face issues.
No, sir. My doubt is HTML5 also will be using or not in that way. Latex, HTML5
HTML5 only we are using from 2014, right?
Yeah.
No one uses HTML3, 2, 1 or 4. Everyone uses HTML5 only. Okay, HTML means all versions are covered. CSS means all versions are covered. JavaScript means all versions are there in that, like that. Ajax, yes, Ajax we are going to learn. So Ajax we will learn with Axios library. So Axios library internally uses Ajax. So that part we will learn in our React.js. So in React, we will learn fetch and Axios. So using this Axios and fetch, you will learn how to integrate your APIs with your React, how to send a request to your server-side applications, nothing but backend applications, how to get the response. All those things you will learn here. This is the core part of our course, because this is what we do in the real time. So we should know this. And I have mentioned everything in the syllabus. Just go through that syllabus, you will get the idea what we are covering and what we are not covering. So whatever I have mentioned in syllabus, I will cover all those things. Okay. And when it comes, when it comes to recorded part, like how you are understanding my live sessions, same thing you will understand recorded part also. If you are getting any doubts, if you did not understand, feel free to let me know in the next session itself. So we have gone through this recorded part. We did not understand this part. So you can ask it, because it's not possible for me to cover everything. So that's why I came with that idea.
Do we have any practice sessions?
There will be no practice sessions. There will be all live sessions. I will be giving certain assignments to you. You guys have to finish those assignments.
Okay, I mean that means only just listening, right?
Yes, yes. So it's like only 1 hour session. So 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
So how do we make the payment?
For that, you have to connect with admin. So they will help you with that. Okay. So payment details or how to do the payment, everything they will help you. Anyways, you will get mail. You guys have registered, right? So
Yeah.
you will get the mail. You will get all the information. So what I recommend, attend all the demo sessions, guys. There are 5 to 7 demo sessions. Attend all the demo sessions. Once you have attended all the demo sessions, if you feel comfortable, then only join. Okay. So first attend all the demo sessions. First 5 to 7 sessions are completely free. No need to pay any kind of fee. So you can join it. So once you are done with that, then you can decide whether you want to proceed or you want to drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the WhatsApp group is not yet created, right?
No, once our batch get fixed, once the payment process is done, then they will create a WhatsApp group. Okay, already there are a lot of people who are from previous batches, so they know the process. Okay, so basically this is how they do. Once the batch got freezed, then they will create a WhatsApp group and they will add you guys in those WhatsApp group.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, if you don't have any doubts, yeah, you guys can drop. Let's join tomorrow at same time.
Sir, we have Angular sessions for full stack people today.
Yes, yes, you have Angular sessions in the evening. Okay,
Oh,
if you guys
can we
are
learn
able,
both React Angular parallelly?
yes, yes,
What
you can
you
learn, but you have to be little bit careful. Okay, so you have to practice both the things properly.
Okay, sure.
So if you have time issues, learn parallelly. If you have lot of time, you can spend one after another, then learn one after another. Okay.
My other next Angular batch, if I wanna learn.
Once we done with at same time, it will start. Once we have done with React, Angular will start at same time.
Okay. Okay, then I will go. Okay. Thanks.